People ask me quite often, it's a regular question, what does natural fall actually mean? And the easiest way I can explain it is natural fall means everything that comes off the body. And that's opposed to a full set operation, which is select cuts off the body. And then the third variation of that would be where customers are choosing individual cuts. It's a big step, taking on natural fall. It's one style, it's one solution. It's not going to fit everybody. I think if anything, what we're doing is really disruptive behaviour, and it's not to disrupt the whole industry. It's just to say, you know, we've been doing things sort of one way for a long time. Is it the right way? Who knows? You know, part of the future is understanding where things are moving to and being across that.
I believe chefs are in a very privileged position, and many chefs in many of our hotels in these locations are the sole decision maker on what products come into a hotel. So it's really important we have that relationship with our supply chain of utilising the right resources. We understand where our ingredients come from and the story behind them, so we can share that with our guests. So the Natural Fall program started mid last year in 2018, and it started through a conversation how we can create change in the hotel and go back into the supply chain. So we're looking at how we can maybe look at a different business model and rewarding the farmer for the work that they've done, and sharing that with our customer and passing a lot of those benefits on to the customer. Having the opportunity to deal with the producer, we have a much better platform for pricing, and we have a much better understanding of that. The Natural Fall program, we pay one price per kilo, so we pay the same price from the head to the tail, and everything else in between. So that gives us a great opportunity of where we use that throughout the hotel on our menus, and a lot of the time we pass that cost saving on to our customers as well.
When we first started with the program, we got the carcass, basically we sat down, we looked at the current beef that's used through the hotel. Obviously this was kind of easy one-on-one replacement, but as the whole point of the program was to be more sustainable, we had to confront ourselves with what are we doing with all the other cuts. We take all the offals as well, we take as well the fat, the bones, everything. For me personally, it's a great value add of the whole program. It's just with our team to see the engagement actually with the product, because prior, most chefs in this part of the world, your connection to beef is like your tenderloin that's vacuum packed, your OP rib, maybe even portion cuts. Versus now you get basically the entire animal in, including the bones. So the bones we started cooking stocks that are used throughout the venues. More the primal cuts like an OP rib. The short loins are actually dry aged in-house to further value add to the product. The more like the shanks, the secondary cuts, all the Malay, the Indian cooking where you need the stews, the curries, where actually you have all this great texture from the connecting tissue. We started making our own charcuterie. So we first struggled a little bit what to do with the beef heart, but now we season it, we really dry cure it, we air dry it, it's part of a charcuterie blade. We turn the liver into a beef pate. We did own salamis, we do our own pastrami. And this is, I think, where for us the big benefit is that we really can go back to do product in-house. And I think the program of the Natural Fall is great there, because young chefs just are drawn to us as Grand Hyatt because they know this program is in place, and probably there's no other place in Singapore that would enable them to kind of the learning that comes with it, the butchering, and just working with all of these different cuts. Here we can really learn about beef, how the animal is basically laid out and what to do with different cuts. With the price advantage we have, we can serve beef where we couldn't do it before, and we can also, I think, serve a higher value beef than compared to what we could before. I mean, we must have probably doubled, maybe not doubled, but quite substantially increased our red meat offerings on the menu through the entire hotel. We have very unique dishes which probably prefer customer preference, like the beef neck, certain cuts which before we just could simply not get because they were not available on the market. We offer you a $9 beef burger, a 220 gram burger. This is probably the best value for money burger in town, which we couldn't have done before because just simply the cost would have been too great for us. I think the advice I would give other venues, obviously start small. Don't start with 9, 10, 11 bodies, but do what we did. Start small, see if you can turn one body at a time, and then slowly work your way up. and then with maybe getting some products frozen, some products fresh. It's just really see how we could slowly apply it with dry aging certain products, with maybe turning some into the brates, into sausages, cold cuts, which just has a longer shelf life, and just slowly build it up from there. And yes, at the beginning it might be a little bit overwhelming, but if you sit down, you see what's happening, I'm sure it's doable as well. Maybe other venues can team up.
Natural Fall, it's about celebrating, you know, these really unique, beautifully bred, beautifully well looked after animals that have got such a brilliant story to tell.